Started.
Absolutely. So I've been reading some interesting, in the break room, reading what we were talking about the other days about masks.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember, like?
I do.
Yeah. And why we put up certain masks and
Mhm.
why we try to hide or suppress certain things about ourselves. Comes to find out, it's like the basic human nature of us.
Mhm.
There's both predator and prey type situation, the submissive and dominant. And I took some notes that are like, for example, like right here, I kind of wrote down finding the balance of predator and prey, knowing when to use certain tactics of both predator and prey, finding balance, harmony, and because if you're too much of this or if you're too much of that, it can be off balance, and that's when you that's when the masks start coming up and be like, okay, I'm gonna put on a mask of being a savior so I can hide the fact that I'm depressed, or I'm gonna be the nice guy so I can hide the fact that I am too aggressive of some sorts.
So what would an example of like a predator versus a prey mask would look like? What would those two separate entities, what would those be?
I kind of had it right here, actually. Okay, so right here. The underlying message of the predator is, I will feed upon you and destroy you. You are my victim. Predator types step over boundaries, seek control, take what isn't theirs. They are forceful, aggressive, calculating, and manipulating, and are looking out for their best interest at all times. And predator types hardly take any action unless there's some payoff for themselves. So kind of in a way of being selfish, only thinking for themselves. Absolutely. Okay. While the prey says, I am powerless over you. Please don't hurt me. I can't help myself. There are passive, yielding, fearful, insecure, and therefore easily manipulated. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much like the qualities are of both predator and prey.
Okay. How would you say that those kind of contribute to you, predator and prey mask?
Absolutely. I was just thinking about how it definitely says right here, identify both your public mask and your private facade. For me, I always put a facade of being the dominant one or being aggressive, but naturally my basic human nature is pretty much the prey. I am easily manipulated and I don't even recognize that. So I put on a mask of a dominant person of some sort.
Is that to hide something, do you think? Is that to...
Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. It's more to like hide the fact that I don't want to be screwed over, because over time through life experiences, there have been some times where I've been my natural self, like nice, kind, caring, and those qualities that other people take full advantage of or get screwed over. For example, like I got screwed over financially working as a makeup artist one time, and that just kind of made me like, I was like frustrated, of course, absolutely, and so I was just, next time when I went out to the world, when I got another job, I put on a facade of being strong. I was being very like more aggressive, like being like, I am not going to be signed this contract unless we agree that I'm going to be paid this much of some sort.
Okay.
And so, even though it is the right thing to say, but it's definitely more on the dominant side. And so I think it was more weakness that I was showing, and for me to find the balance, I had to be more aggressive, and that's when I was like, okay, we can find some equilibrium right there, but not to be too aggressive or anything like that, because it'll be out of balance.
Okay, so it was kind of a situation in which you had thought you had agreed to something, then come to find out it's like, no, you didn't agree to this. It was something completely else, is kind of what that first situation was?
Yeah, it was just more of like, I didn't know of some sort, but it was just, I didn't know my part and everything, but every experience is a learning lesson, and that's how I look at things too.
I would almost look in that sense specifically, in kind of that you were saying more aggressive, more taking the charge almost.
Mhm.
I would almost look at that as a good type of predator mask because
Yeah.
you are standing up for yourself in an instance in which you should agree to something.
Absolutely.
It's, I came in, this is what we're doing, this is how I'm going to work with it. So I would almost say that's a positive predatory mask that you had put on. When you were talking about kind of the other masks that you were showing, you were saying that you kind of are more standoffish. What other kind of mask do you feel as though you do show when it comes to predatory masks, like you had been talking about?
The type of masks that I will
Mhm.
wear
Mhm.
to show more dominance.
Yeah.
Definitely like high ego pride for sure. I show a mask of pride and being like, oh, I am the best and no one can mess with me type type stuff.
So is that so do you feel that way, or is that just a complete mask then?
It's a complete mask for sure.
So how do you feel then? So when you strip off that mask of ego, of being one of the best or the best, what is left there? What's on the face end of that?
When I take off that mask, I am naturally just very quiet and reserved.
Mhm.
Yeah, I tend to be more reserved.
Okay.
Even though I want to work on my communication and speak my mind. But no, sometimes I actually like to be reserved and quiet because I feel like there's like a sense that I am protecting my thoughts. I am protecting my own self. Sometimes I do get scared if I want to try something new that is like out of my element, like or not in my out of my league. You know, like perhaps like for example, like I really want to start my own makeup brand.
Yeah.
Start off with lipsticks and such and everything, but I am terrified because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Like my heart is racing. But I think that's a good sign, though.
I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that nerve before you do something, like before a big event or before a big
leap of faith.
Yeah, exactly. It's a positive risk taking.
Mm-hmm. But for some reason, like I would just cower away and just like, okay, maybe some other time or not right now because my body tells me something else, or my mind tells me something. My mind tells me something, but my heart says do it.
Okay.
My heart's like, even right now, I'm like, I really want, or maybe it's just the coffee, but my heart tells me, you have no idea how beneficial this can be for you, and this is probably meant for you. But my mind tells me something else, like, boy, they're not gonna take your ideas. They're probably gonna deny or something. They're gonna not go with your plans or your ideas or your dreams and such. But I think that's very normal for anyone to think.
I think it's normal, but also looking at kind of a reframing. So whenever people are writing a book, for instance, we're going to use that as an example. They may go to a couple different people that'll publish it saying, hey, I want to publish this book, or hey, an editor, hey, I want to incorporate this into something that you do. They might be like, no, it might not be for that person. So when you come up and you're doing it, just because one person says no, don't let that stop you. There's plenty of people out there that are definitely wanting, and they're just kind of waiting. So kind of have a different outlook on that. Kind of have the outlook of, there's definitely people out there for me to want this product. They want to have this, and they're going to love it.
Absolutely.
So I think in that sense that your mind in that mask you were talking about is almost a sense of confidence. You're giving yourself the confidence. You have to mask that, and maybe it's a mask that might not even be a mask later on. The more you start building yourself up, the easier it gets, and then that mask is just going to be part of you. I mean, you're going to be more confident. You're going to feel more confident, and then it's not a mask anymore.
That's what I would love to reach, is more confidence. I was writing some questions here actually that I was writing. When I read this, I was writing some questions. I said, what is a strong person? The qualities of a strong person. Are people naturally like that? Do we get to choose to be strong or weak? How do we find balance? And then I just wrote, we disguise ourselves to be like the other. And I guess finding the right qualities to bring out. And what is the basic human nature? Because, naturally I am like this type of person, but like you said, having more of that experience can give you that confidence, and then you become naturally that person. It's not just a facade anymore.
Hmm. It's like when you were talking about your hairdressing. You don't just start being confident in what you're doing. So if I come in, maybe I'm writing reports for like a massive financial company, and I come in, I'm going to be terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be like, this is the first time I've ever done this. The same when you're being more confident. This is the first time I've ever been more confident. This is the first time I'm feeling this way. And so the more reports that I write, or the more I start feeling that way, the easier it's going to get. It's the same as if you're practicing a skill. So hairdressing. So first time when you're in school, there were probably some times in which, oh, I shouldn't have cut that this much, or I trimmed it a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
So the more and more, but now you're amazing at it.
Mm-hmm.
So just the small steps with the confidence too. You can't just rush it all. You're not going to be
That's
super confident right away.
You can't it's being like having ego right there too. Absolutely. Everything there's like a certain haircut cut, there's layered haircuts, right? Terrified. I'm like, what the hell? I don't even know what to do. But assisting Gayla, she's the owner of the salon. Just watching her, and she actually trusted me to like at least do it on a client on a real hair. Of course, I was proud of myself, but like looking back, like I took before and after pictures, and I was just looking at the pictures. I'm like, oh, dang. Well, she paid. Hopefully, she doesn't. Hopefully, she comes back and sees me. If so, that's a good sign. But if not, that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do like about myself. That I always take things that I like to learn and be better and perfect my skills. And then over time, like about 3 to 4 clients later, I started getting much easier with the hair cutting, the layers and the angles and such, and how short or long the layers they want. And to the point where Gayla, the owner of the salon, says, this is perfect. Like, it's really amazing. You're really, really good. And the blend is seamless. And I'm just like, I just say, oh, thank you. It's so cute, right? I love it. I'm not that type of person to be like, oh, really? Oh, I feel like I should have done this or that or whatever. No, of course I'll point out some little things, but I only take that as learning experiences.
That's good.
Same thing with makeup. Over time, I've been doing that for 14 years, and I've never stopped, and I love doing it to this day. And most recent makeup that I've done is about 3 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, before I came here. And I had the video of it, of me recording the whole process of me doing the makeup, and I was looking at it. I was like, damn, each step is so perfect. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, I'm so proud of myself. It's because of hard work and practice of sorts.
And I think that ties in a lot with, you were asking about a strong person and everything. I think that ties a lot in that too. You're able to overcome. You had overcome, the layered hair. You had overcome the first time maybe not being the best, and now you're amazing at it. You were working and working, and I think that adaptability, that overcoming, becomes a strong person. It allows you to become stronger.
Absolutely. And I love working at the salon so much. Even for long periods of time, I'm very used to that. About 10, 12-hour days sometimes. And all my focus is towards the client. I'm selfless. And the thing is, like, I don't think that's even a facade, actually. I think that's just who I am naturally whenever there's a client on my seat. It's more of like, hey, it's all about you. I just want to make them feel good and hype them up a little bit, and
Yeah, definitely.
just tell them like, yes, supermodel, get it, girl, fluff that hair, all that stuff. That makes me happy. That warms my heart, actually. It doesn't do anything to my mind. It warms my heart, actually. It feels good to my body. And then when I get home, I feel good too. I'm very happy excited to tell my partner like what happened in the day. And my partner, he loves hearing my stories. So he calls them each day like success because of how happy I come home.
I like it.
And
awesome.
I just love telling him all my stories, the clients, the good and the bad. But whenever there's like, I don't think I'm gonna have a bad client yet. Actually, I've definitely came across a bad client though. But the thing is, that's just who she is. And I found some ways to be like, okay, well, that's who she is. And she's a regular client, a loyal client though. But she's very, she's herself. talks in a certain way that makes it seem like very aggressive of some sort. But I was patient. I mean, at first I was like, oh my gosh, I never experienced this. What the hell? But the next time she came, I found some like ways to be like, okay, no, just be patient and just be nice. Honestly,
That's
just be
good.
nice to her. And then she would not let me touch her hair whatsoever, like let alone like bleach it or anything.
Huh.
Even though she had the most fragilest of hair, but she was very particular, and she's like, do not overlap the bleach or anything, because if not, it's gonna break off and everything. And for some reason, I actually understood what she meant by that. But for some reason, I was looking at the other stylist. I'm like, no, don't overlap it. I just knew exactly what she meant by that. And then she let me try it on her, and she was just very impressed. Actually, she was very happy. And I told her, I was like, so what's your story? I was just wanting to get to know her. It was all about her and not about me or anything. And this comes to find out why she was acting a certain way is because she was going through some things in her own personal life. Her daughter was being married off to a guy that she did not agree. Like her entire family just does not like this guy, and then her daughter is being married off to him, and she is just so devastated to see that. And she's like, I just want my daughter back and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
Just that's good that you can work with that many clients though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I find that adaptability and that kind of flexibility, you were able to work with somebody that previously you weren't able to work with. You were able to work with somebody that other people had a challenge working with. I think when you were talking about what is a strong person, I think that's a great aspect of that. You have that flexibility. I can work with whoever comes through my door. And you were talking about how Gayla's been able to help you and build you. You were talking about kind of, do I have to watch a strong person? What does that look like? You kind of almost model parts of other people, I would say. You pick apart when you're working with people. How can I become stronger? You kind of, not idolize, but you'll look in a sense of what do I like in this person. So we're at Gayla, for example. I like that she's able to work with everyone. She makes everybody happy. She's very caring. All aspects of a strong person. They're strong and comfortable in being themselves.
And that's what I like about other people, and like her especially too. And I tell myself, okay, how can I not mimic or anything, but how can I get those qualities that fits me?
And I like that you just said how it fits me, because everybody can be caring, everybody can be whatever word you want to use, but how does it reflect in your own self? Like, how can I be caring versus how can somebody else be caring? It might look totally different. Somebody might want to give stuff, somebody might do stuff, so I'm glad that you said that part too. That's a big aspect of it also.
Yeah, it's personalized.
Yeah, exactly. You want to personalize your strength, personalize your overcoming. So,
yeah, naturally for me, like when I'm in the salon atmosphere or just anything within beauty, I don't know. I like to help others for some reason. I'm there to help other people or even serve other people, and there's something changes within me. Like I become more of myself. It's almost euphoric, and sometimes I catch myself. I'm like, I kind of like this version of myself.
What does that euphoria feel like? What is
like that warm
just
heart?
euphoria?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it feels kind of good, and the fact that there's no running thoughts. I don't have anything in my mind. It's all clear. I have a clear mind, and all my focus is on the client, and I'm selfless.
What kind of stops you from using? Of course, you're not going to have clients all the time, but what stops you from feeling that feeling to when maybe you're on the weekend where you're not having any clients? What's stopping that?
I guess when I get home, you know, I tell myself I am just recharging. I'm getting my energy back, because of course it can be a little bit, be social in such a way, and sometimes I just want to go home and just relax. But before I came here, I used to just have a glass of red wine. But like now, I'm like, give me a fruit punch. I love my fruit punches. But I always tell myself, like, and it's actually in the things that we study in cosmetology, we have a big book of things, about your body and such. You actually have to take care of your body first. Recharge your mind, recharge your body in order to get the energy to do the clients. If not, it's going to reflect on yourself for sure. But what's stopping me from, for some reason, when I get home, I have no idea. I think it's just.
Or is there, you said that there's a euphoric feeling with it. When do you feel that feeling kind of fade a little bit? So instead of when do you think it would, when do you feel that feeling kind of shift?
When, actually, I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah.
When there's no other, I tend to be more open when I'm in a social setting, actually, when I'm with a group of people. But I think because I've just been so selfish that when I get home, that, that euphoric feeling, that warm-heartedness still lingers a bit, because I'm with my partner and I tell him about my days and he's asking me these questions and I'm more than happy and I'm smiling and just very happy. But then where I fail is I don't want to do the things that he wants to do whenever I get home. Because, he has his work and everything, and then I ask him about his day, and he's like, oh, it's just the same thing, petty drama, and, oh, there's this, finance things I have to do. And, he likes his stuff, he likes to watch shows, and he likes to cook and chill by the pool, and all that things. For some reason, I don't know, I was way too selfish, and I failed to even be like, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and hang by the pool. Let's cook your souffles and such. Let's watch America's Got Talent. Let's do all that, whatever you want to do. But for some reason, I think that that warm-heartedness fades away whenever that selfish person comes out. Because, there was this one successful day that I had, and I would never forget this. Long day at the salon, the normal stuff. I'm like, oh, cool, euphoric, good, nice, good feeling. And before I clocked out, I gave my partner a call and was like, hey, let's go out to dinner tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and treat you. And we go, our favorite spot is called Little Rome. It's like a little hole in the wall type restaurant, very, very cute. I love it's an Italian restaurant. Big portions, and it's a BYOB, bring your own. Bring your own drinks. Bring your own
booze.
Yeah, all that. Just wine, And so after work, I'll just go to Walmart, get myself a bottle of the cheapest one, Oak Leaf. I love Oak Leaf. It's very cheap and good, but now gotta find other alternatives for that stuff. But as I was saying, I told him hey, I'm gonna go ahead and take you out for dinner, and he was actually up for it. I go home, I tell him about my day, and I'm all happy, and then he's excited. He was like, I'm so happy you're going to take me out. This is very nice of you. I'm like, of course, this is about you today. And we get ready, we get dressed, and then I drive him over there. And so, so I'm pretty much taking the reins that day. I take him to Rome, Little Rome. I wish. I took him to Rome, Italy. No, I took him to Little Rome, the restaurant. And we got our seats and we got our reservations and such, and we were just talking about we were just talking about our days, nothing too much. I did find myself some moments of quietness because I don't know what else to talk about. But other than that, and I paid for the whole dinner and everything, and drove him back home, and everything went well. For me, I will never forget that because that felt good the entire day because I made it about him and what he wanted to do or make him feel special. And then for some reason, I don't know why, but I just need to work on my selfishness sometimes because when I was with him, I was just didn't want to do the things that he wanted to do because physically I just didn't want to do it. But my heart says, boy, you better get out there and just be with him or something. I don't know, put on some music or make the day happy, you know, because you have to control what the day looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And he has control what the day looks like as well, too. We just got to communicate with each other with that. I wasn't too communicative at the time. I wasn't fully talking about my real emotions or what I was thinking about. But he was patient enough to be like, you know, everything's okay. No matter what you're going through, it is okay. And over time, maybe like a couple of days, I was like thinking about something, and then I just told him like, hey babe, I'm thinking about something. I want to talk to you about it. He's like, sure, what? And there are ways to tell that. You can't just be like, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. You know, it can be aggressive, but there are ways to say it.
Yeah.
So there's ways to communicate that.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it when it makes my heart warm. It feels very good. My spirit feels good. That's what I think that euphoric feeling comes from. It makes my spirit good. Not just my heart or my mind, it's the spirit.
Nope.
Feels good. And for me, I was like, you did a good job.
In that sense, I would almost, you were saying you're getting more more communicative, and you're able to maybe even finding a compromise. So where you're, like when the example you were saying earlier, your heart feels one way, your brain's saying something else. I don't want to go, or I don't want to do this, but my other part's saying yes. Maybe I can find something to where we can kind of intertangle them. So instead of souffle, something simple, like maybe ice cream on, like whatever. Just finding some compromise, some in between. It may not be a souffle, but it's going to be something to where we can do it together. Because maybe it's not, hey, I want to have a souffle. Maybe it's, I want to cook with you. I want to do things with you. Or something like that. So that compromising comes into play.
Absolutely.
When we were talking about that flexibility, like at work and that learning, overcoming, that plays into part of it too. So you can be strong with your communication and with your compromising. And when we're talking about his day, how often do you kind of dive into his day like he does with you?
Well,
like, do you
I try to ask him, you know, talk to him about like, well, what happened and such and everything. He's like, oh, you know, it's just, he doesn't really go too deep into it. And I understand that because I feel like I think he doesn't want to bring all that stuff in the house or anything, all that energy or whatnot, because he's home and, you know, he just wants to relax.
Yeah.
And I completely get that. And I don't want to be overbearing and such. And so, you know, I just ask him like, okay, cool. And how's coworker such and such? How is this coworker such and such? And he's like, oh, they're doing good. And every now and then, you know, he'll be like, oh, we're having this event that they're planning and such. And I think it's just asking the right questions actually for him for him to open up actually a little bit more. But he's very he is very well, he can communicate very well, and he's I consider a strong person, something that I really look up to.
Okay. What kind of characteristics do you see in that type of strength?
He is adaptable, flexible, patient, and understanding. Absolutely.
Awesome.
He has all those things that resembles a strong person. And he doesn't let anything get to him whatsoever. And that's what I really admire about people. Some people, and especially him, that nothing really bothers him like that. But yeah.
And another piece, you were talking about that one night being a night to remember. It was when you felt that euphoric feeling, when you felt like you were being completely selfless, you were helping him out. Maybe not saying that you have to go to little Rome every time, of course, but just small things. So maybe you bring something back. Maybe you do something that normally you wouldn't. Just kind of change it up. Do small things, just because it doesn't have to be big. Just small pieces. So that could be an option to try out. So instead of going out to dinner, maybe it's we're going to cook together, and maybe I brought home some ice cream, your favorite ice cream, and we'll have some while we watch Golden Girls or...
Yeah, absolutely. You remember that.
I did.
Absolutely. And he really, he mentioned that word compromise. We got to compromise.
How much did you compromise before when it came?
Oh my gosh, not at all actually. I was so selfish. I was very selfish. I was putting on that And because also like the type of people that he was with as well, and what I was surrounded with, it just made me. Oh my gosh, I knew exactly why it was. I'm this. It was in here. Sheep wearing a wolf's clothing. A sheep wearing wolf's clothing.
Break that down a little bit.
Sheep being the weak and the wolf being the strong, the predator and the prey and such. But I feel like as the weak person trying to dress up as a strong person or as a very confident person, but it's. I think I was thinking about myself way too much that I need to resemble these qualities in order for them to like me or even talk to me or something like that. And it just didn't look at me now. It didn't work in my favor.
Well, let's look at your partner. He liked you for you. We talked about this. I don't remember which group it was, but he likes you. He's showing off who you are, not this wolf covering, not this that. He likes you.
The real me.
The real you, not the one that's hiding behind all this egotistical confidence or whatever else it may be. But he's with you because he likes you, because he cares, because he wants to work on things. Not because you're trying, not because of those guys. It's because of you.
Yeah.
Because of who you are, that kindness that he sees.
Absolutely. And that's the real me. That's literally the real me, just very nice, caring and stuff. But every time when it comes to his world, for some reason, I just put on, I put on that mask, that egotistical mask. But
that's not a mask you gotta be wearing.
No, not at all.
If you're there for him,
I'm there for him.
So you don't gotta show off in front of all of these other people.
I'm not showing
He's bringing you there to show you off as who you are, not of who you feel as though those people should see you. He sees you for you.
Absolutely.
Let yourself be you in that sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely learning a lot of things. Absolutely.
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are.
And just not being afraid of exposing myself, like being the real me.
Of course.
I shouldn't be afraid about that.
You are who you are. Trying to mask it or hide itself is just going to weigh you down. We were talking about the beach ball effect earlier from your book.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, where if you're trying to hold the beach ball, trying to keep one part of you down over there, the other part over here, and you're trying to be something else, you just can't be that.
Yeah.
You can't be 4 places at once and trying to hold it all together.
I think that's why my mind was running so much, because I was thinking too much about stuff like that. Oh my gosh, what do you think about this? Oh my gosh, they probably hate me. Oh my gosh, they don't like the way I said that or whatnot. But no, actually, that's not the case at all. Funny enough, like, some people find it fascinating, the things that I do, or that what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, in my head, I was like, oh, okay. Everyone has their own gig, and everyone's good at what they do.
You were talking about how they were so interested, and you were surprised at how much they liked the hair stuff and how much they liked and were diving into it. And you were talking about, oh, I didn't think you guys would like that from the other group. And I was,
yeah, I think they liked the enthusiasm that I had too for hair and beauty.
And everybody loves, whenever somebody loves something and they talk about it, everybody's more willing to hear. If you're just kind of trying to hold that part of you back, you're kind of hesitant, you're kind of like, maybe not that part. Everybody wants you for you. You gotta let yourself be you.
Absolutely. But yeah, I just, it's, yeah, I'm just being myself now and everything. But like I said, like, it's more of like, now, like, okay, what do I talk about now type situations when I'm like with other people, because sometimes I'm so quiet and reserved that I don't know, I kind of like it when other people talk, because I just like to see the interactions between those two people. Like, okay, he said that, and then now why did he say that, or why did he respond in such a way, and why this response, you know? For me, that fascinates me. I'm like, okay.
And that's part of you too. Not sit, you don't have to be the one to fill every void with a whatever. You can sit there. You don't have to be the, I guess, life of the party every time. You can be a social butterfly. You can talk to people, but you don't have to do that all the time. That's another part of you. Let yourself be you.
And you're very right. You know, like just doing it more often. Like the more experiences I have,
Mhm.
like with that, or practice more of that,
Mhm.
then over time I will just be more confident.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that coming in with compromising, kind of talking, being more communicative, all of those tie in with the more you practice, the more you work at it, the easier it's going to be. And when you have a partner that's willing to communicate all that, willing to compromise, willing to work, it just makes all that easier.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely what I would love to be working on after, because after I complete the 20-day program here, I'm gonna. My boss recommended me that I do a sober living
Yeah.
at Oxford Home, and I'm like, okay, you know, let's see if they'll accept me, you know. But if I do, or you know, there's other sober living out there, of course, in Plano. It will be the perfect opportunity for me to practice my social skills, and just, you know, if things don't work out, okay, cool, you know,
On to the next.
out to the next.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So that's the attitude I gotta keep up, and that's, yeah. I just gotta practice selflessness.
That's a great mentality to have, though.